Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
Hey. It's that time again. It's Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, and you are watching The Way We See It right here with yours truly, Blaze Man. And we will bring on my boy, Mr. D.
What's going
Okay.
on, Blaze?
Mr. Donald.
What's
Okay.
up?
Oh,
I'm on my
oh,
way.
oh, oh, I'll be up. There he is. Look
Yeah,
at him. And Mr. B, ladies and gentlemen.
Heidi, ho!
What?
Good evening, gentlemen. How we doing here?
Good evening.
Easy.
So, we were just talking to Mr. D off camera, and he's got some pretty good hail slamming down up there against his window. You know what I mean? So, definitely, ladies and gentlemen, go tell your friends and shit that you might literally see like fucking a window blow open, and Mr. D have to dive towards the floor and shit like that. That's for good news right there. You know what I mean?
I'll get you, my pretty little dog, too.
Mr. B, Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Lord.
Oh shit! Hey, how you doing, boys? How's everybody doing? I'm doing well, Mr. B. I heard you went on a little trip.
Yes, we went up to the up in Maine to a railroad which is being reconstructed. Originally, over 100 years ago, it was the Wiscasset and Ontario line. It's a smaller gauge railroad that was supposed to be connected all the way up into Canada, but the larger railroads fought against it, so it wound up being a small regional railroad that went its way, and as industry went their way, so did the railroad eventually. But people are reconstructing it, and we went on a little tour of it and a ride of it, and it's amazing what they have there. They've been reconstructing and restoring train cars, both people movers and freight type vehicles as well for the rails. They've got about 4 miles of track that you can ride, and they have these wonderful turnstiles. When you get to the end of the line, they'll move the engine onto it, and it takes only 2 or 3 men to actually, because it's so well balanced, get out and manually rotate a cast iron, old iron horse around to switch it around to change the direction of the train. It's amazing. The things that they've done and the work they're doing. They're trying to get it so that it will be able to be expanded. They are meeting some resistance and some issues having to do with federal regulators, railroad regulators, and so forth, and warm fuzzyites that want salamanders to have their tails and whatnot. So they got to go through that. But eventually, I think they're going to have a very, very nice thing, and it's nice to see what's going on, the preservation of our history.
Right. And for those of you youngsters or whatever that are unaware, today is June 6th, and that was D-Day. Is when the men and women of this fine country, along with Canada and the UK, stormed the beaches of Normandy and in all the other beachheads out there.
They not only stormed the beaches, they also were dropped in behind lines. And
yes,
don't forget the French nationals themselves that were
let's just
as resistance
call a
were.
spade a spade. They
Yep.
were misdropped behind enemy lines.
All right, misdropped, dumped.
So So we got a little bit of something for everybody out there. We don't mean to scare you 30-year-olds, but believe it or not, that's why you're here. You're here now because your parents were allowed to have you because of stopping this madman in Hitler. But although I won't say it, controversy. But let's take a little watch and a listen.
Blaze, before you get into that, let me just say, because I don't want to pussyfoot about things. This is a guy
Oh.
that was taking people that were gays, people that were gypsies and whatever else, and murdering them because of who they were. And this effort was a large piece in stopping it all.
Yeah, I don't know how deep you want to go into this though, because if you want, I'll just say something real quick. Watch out, yeah, yeah, yes. So I don't. I mean, I mean, what they did to the Jews was absolutely crazy.
What they
They murdered them. They murdered the Jews. They tried to kill an entire bloodline, an entire population.
race?
Yes.
Yes. Genocide.
There is a lot of medical technology and things of that nature that were learned
Blaze.
then.
Blaze.
Now we say what that, that's rude. This is a
Genocide.
show.
Yes, genocide. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Yes,
okay.
genocide, and I mean, we have to say genocide because they didn't succeed. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is that medical technology, a lot was learned in that situation because these nut scientists and everything to that nature. Shut up, Donald. Get to learn shit. You know what I mean?
You're talking about the Dachau experiments.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it.
Well, it needs to be said.
Well, you talk about it then.
Okay. Well, we've got a video you were going to put.
All right.
Let's
All
watch
right,
this
let's-
video, then we'll get
okay.
into my beginning stuff, and we'll get to that. We will get to it.
And
all right.
and Mr. B, since you're leading this segment, will you ask us for the questions, or do you want us to jump in? Talk to me in your format.
I'll do some talking. If you got a question, we'll
It's
get
a discussion.
to it.
Absolutely.
We'll discuss it. Yeah.
Yes.
In several months, England has become an immense arsenal in preparation for D-Day. Churchill is still just as cagey about landings, but this time he has a trump card. His secret services have assembled a phantom army.
Smart motherfucker that
Codename
came up with that
Operation
idea.
Fortitude. To misdirect German
you that
reconnaissance
right now.
units, thousands of inflatable vehicles of all types are deployed near Dover to make it look like a landing in the Pas-de-Calais. Full decoy divisions made out of rubber are placed in the fields. Hitler had leaked false intelligence to the Allied nations about his military might in the 1930s. Well, he's going to get a taste of his own medicine. Churchill can't be sure the illusion will work, but he has a joker on the opposing side, Adolf Hitler himself. In the night between the 5th and 6th of June, 1944, the biggest armada ever assembled makes its way towards the French coast. Hitler goes to bed at 4 a.m. At 6 in the morning, the fleet is spotted and combat is engaged. German generals immediately call the chief of staff, fearing this armada is the dreaded invasion fleet. They call for reinforcements in case of an attempted landing. But General Jodl refuses to wake the Führer to request authorization. One doesn't disturb a sleeping dictator, especially not Hitler. Hitler isn't roused until 10 in the morning by his camp aide. But Hitler is convinced that the attack on Normandy is nothing more than a diversion for the real landing in the Pas-de-Calais. He refuses to send reinforcements. Hitler has taken the bait. The inflatable rubber decoys of Operation Fortitude did the job. It's already 2:30 in the afternoon when Hitler orders reinforcement troops. That's 8 hours after the Armada was sighted. It's too late. Fear of the dictator and his unilateral authority served to hasten the success of D-Day. Churchill is relieved.
Winston Churchill now came himself onto the soil of Normandy. The visit was brief. It didn't take long for the Prime Minister to satisfy himself that all goes well.
All right, gentlemen. I've got a few notes here I wanted to read into, but we can go out. We can bolster some of the things we're talking about. It was D-Day, June the 6th. 1,500,000 personnel were deployed out in all of this. On these boats, in aircraft, both propellered and gliders, and also have been landed. Not to mention the people, again, that were already down on the ground in France that were the freedom fighters, the resistance fighters that were there. They had Canadians, they had British, they had Americans. 2,395 aircraft, 867 gliders. They flew 14,674 sorties and lost only 127 planes in the entire D-Day invasion. They were talking about Operation Fortitude. A lot of people don't realize what Fortitude was. It was a two-pronged thing. Earlier on, during all the planning and the development, before things had been deployed, months before, the Allies had taken an unfortunate soul, a dead body, and dressed him in ordinary British-type garb. Gave him a briefcase, and they'd had all sorts of identity and so forth papers, all made for him, everything completely forged. But also, they had put this guy's name in phone directories, and there was newspaper announcements and so forth having to do with this fellow's name, which they created. Then by submarine, they took and they dumped his body over off the coast of France, floating around with a briefcase with a bunch of dummy orders saying what the invasion was, papers, how the invasion was going to play out, and that it was going to come from the Pas-de-Calais. In the meantime, banishing Hitler was still in their mind. They took George Patton, the one general that they feared the most, and they put him over on a coast over in England and built this army of all of these fictitious divisions around him, created phony radio transmissions, and even had a couple of people go out there and do interviews with him for the masses and so forth, all making it sound like and look like they were building up all these magnificent piles and stockpiles of men and equipment, all to come at the Pas-de-Calais. It was the biggest incredible bluff of the entire World War II European operation.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes,
okay.
sir. No, I'm just agreeing with you, sir.
All of this happened. A lot of people don't realize that when the invasion came, there were so many things that were so incredibly fouled up. It was almost like that story that Mel Brooks came out with the producers. They got every incredible wrong that could possibly go wrong, and it turned out to be an incredible right. Hitler wouldn't be disturbed. They would not disturb him. They wouldn't wake him up. Had they woke up Hitler when the first news of things that were going on were there, they would have released. They had units of reserve panzers, and he gave orders that the reserve panzers were not to be touched, not to be moved, not to go anywhere unless he himself gave the order. If someone had woke him up and told him what was going on and they moved it, the D-Day invasion probably would have failed. But it didn't. Why didn't they do it? Because Hitler was having problems sleeping, and they finally got him to sleep to get it by taking sleeping tablets, and they didn't want to wake him up again.
Oh well.
While they were dropping off all of our units, people were supposed to have in the aircraft maps of where they're going to drop this unit, that unit, that unit. Well, of course, while the bombs and the air flak and so forth was going off, things got a little confused. Hands got a little forced, if you will, and so forth. So they started kicking out airborne rangers all over Hell and Creation, places they weren't supposed to go. They came down in swamps. They came down in towns that nobody knew where the hell they were. They came down in an area called Semiragles, where a church was on fire in the middle of the fire, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Well,
When they were finally coming ashore, when they finally launched them ashore, they were supposed to have tanks that were amphibious, and they were amphibious. They were designed so that you could roll them off a ship, get them out into the water, and the tanks would, in essence, swim ashore. But they weren't designed to swim ashore in rough waters that they had from the storm. So they all sank.
Yeah, because when they tested them,
A lot more of our personnel getting off the landing craft
when
would
they
have been
tested
protected.
they tested it in calm water.
Yep.
They had no idea that a rough sea would fucking sink them. Donald.
no, I'm just saying that kind of goes to the ignorance of dictators and people that think that way, that you just always think you can get your way. But kudos to the espionage tactics back in the day. I like it. Look how far we've come in espionage. We ain't dropping no flyers on nobody no more. If we do, we call it they don't call it espionage. What do they call it, Demas? They call it
humanitarian effort.
Yeah,
but we don't call it espionage when we're dropping the leaflet.
Wait a minute. Oh shit.
They got a different name for it now.
Clandestine services.
HUMINT, human intelligence.
Yeah, no, I'll look at it. But either way, just look how far we've come, and that's where I'm just like, damn. To think that World War II basically took a left turn, a right turn, whatever. It took a major direction because somebody didn't have the sack to go wake up the general. That's just amazing to me. I can't believe that. That's hard to swallow.
There was a few other things that happened, like when before all the personnel were sent ashore, they were bombarding the coast, and they bombarded the coastline for hours with ships that had projectiles that were enormous. The problem is they were the wrong kind of, because nobody realized the Germans had used steel reinforced concrete to develop their pillboxes, and a lot of the shells didn't do anything but burst, but shake the damn things.
Yeah,
they never broke through and killed any personnel.
Well, hey, if you're gonna try to fortify something, right, you're gonna fucking do it right. Listen, it's tough to say because you don't want anybody jumping down your throat. But the fucking fact of the matter is that, thank God that things went the way they went, whether they were befuddled or done wrong or whatever. The alignment just worked out, thank God, because the weaponry that Germany had and was developing, everybody would be doing this at fucking right now.
There's one other thing which could have really screwed everything, and I mean everything up. A lot of people don't realize this.
Well,
in the weeks before, Overlord, Operation Overlord, which was D-Day, was put into play. It appeared in a newspaper in a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
Overlord, Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, Sword, all of the key names of the places and the name of the planet itself.
And it was in a public crossword puzzle.
So the Office of Strategic Services, which is now the CIA,
That's a true story.
Yep, got a hold of the fellow and said, "How the hell did you get all of these names? Why are these published inside the newspaper or whatever else?" And this fellow shocked as hell just said, "I put them in because they just completed the holes in the puzzle. It was just something that just happened."
Yep. Crazy. Crazy. But
That having
anyways,
been said, we got some
all
photographs, some other photographs. Can you
people
show those
that
up
don't
there?
really understand World War II and all of that stuff like that, you know what I mean? And this is why that fellas like us, when it comes to fucking around with the American flag and doing all of that shit, man, that war, defined it all. That's why they call it the greatest generation. You know what I mean? Guys were like killing themselves if they didn't get to go into the army. And
The only thing I wanted to H on that, Blaze, and I'm glad you brought that up. And what inspires me most about the World War II story is that fucking Americans fucking lied about their age to get in a fight.
yeah,
And the love of country, man, was there, man.
right,
I got to experience a little love of the country after 9/11.
right. Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, but is that what it's going to take us with all this division and all that? A catastrophe on our
To
land.
bring us together, because that's the
Yeah,
only
man.
time we come together. That's the only time we come together, man, and willing to fucking do whatever it takes to protect their country. It's a devastation. Anything other than that, we just sit here and just fucking, do shows like the way we see it and everything, and nobody can just get their shit right. It takes some fucking devastation.
Hey,
Donnie,
Blaze,
yes, Mr. B.
we've got a photograph. I believe. I think you've got it. Of
Yeah,
something that they airdropped to the resistance units. It was called a Liberator pistol. It was made by a number of the factories here. They were dropped, and they were single shot guns that was meant for these people to take out an operative, being a soldier or whatever else, drop them so they could grab his weapon and become more formidable. Thing. Here we are. Yes, this is something. It was actually stamped out steel with a steel tube. If you take a look at it, it
It
was
looks
like
like
contact welded in several different places. It had at the rear of it a spring-loaded action. You can see where the cartridge went in. If you fired the gun to get the cartridge out, they also give you a little wooden stick to poke it out. There's a picture of those floating tanks, but of the amphibious tanks, and they did work, but unfortunately, but these were dropped by the thousands over in France for people who were resistance workers or a common Joe or Jones citizen if they were of the mind to pick it up and to take arms to protect themselves in the fight and vac the Bosch, so to speak. Can you imagine that?
so that's pretty technically almost like a ghost gun,
Exactly.
Exactly.
right, Donnie?
Exactly.
Same thing. Same thing.
you know you
So
know
we were making ghost guns during World War II. Don't act so surprised now that they found a
Right,
new way.
right.
but
Now
you
we
you
can just
know
make them plastic, Donnie.
yeah, you're right, Blaze. Yes, sir.
Fucking 3D printing.
I
But
don't
thanks for
just
that, Mr. B. But
yeah, and I would just like to add on the history of what Mr. B was trying to capture with weapons and the correlation to World War II into the 70s and the 80s. A lot of them weapons didn't change, and you sparked something in my mind when you showed me that little ghost gun, the M3 grease gun. It was a 45 30 round clip, you know,
Yeah.
and shit. I used it in the Gulf War.
Greasers?
Yes, man. They were given out with recovery people and tankers because you're in a tank. It's hard to do with a rifle, but with a grease gun, I don't know. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add to
yeah,
that.
you
Thanks,
do.
Mr. B.
What else about it?
No, that's it, man.
Hey, is it easy to fucking handle? I mean,
No, it's a man's gun, bro.
yeah, bounces around, does it, huh?
Yeah,
Is this
Wow.
is this the model, bro?
yeah. That's a
Something like
newer
that, yeah.
mod. You see the cover right there? It's just like Fury. If you want to fire, all you do is lift up the hinge cover on the left-hand side. You're ready to fire. That's your safety.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And yeah, it does look like it's it's been electronically welded, spot welded
Yeah.
together. It's a real slap together, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Mr. Windley,
Yes.
you're saying you packed these when you were stationed in Germany?
Yes. For VTR, well, track recovery vehicle operators.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be your sidearm. You wouldn't get the M16. You'd get that.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
I got a cute little story
But
for you. You'll enjoy this.
A fast, shooting handgun. Donnie,
Hmm.
Donnie, you got something you want to add to this?
No,
All
my
right.
take of it all is that what's sad to me is we worry more about Juneteenth and American Pie Day and shit like that than we do days like today with D-Day. That's what kind of gets to me. I'm like,
Right.
we're nothing more. In the Army, we used to have this thing.
Listen,
Demons, you know what they're called? Gerbers, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a multifunctional tool, right? That's
Mhm.
what it was on paper on the hand receipt. It's called a multifunctional tool. That's what I feel like as a veteran now. I'm a multifunctional tool for the news media, the politicians, for whoever seems to use it, whatever avenue they want to use it for. So that's why I'm just like really, I don't know.
Yeah.
Donnie.
It's
Kinda
easy to
disgusting.
throw the veteran name around, huh? Than to
Yeah.
actually fucking do something for them. Yeah, I
And
get you.
and they know where we live too, because
Yeah.
every
Yeah, 'cause-
congressional district. I broke this down for Donnie. Let them know.
no, they know how you live because you got to sit in the VA to get the pills they want you on. Shit.
Yeah.
No, bro, it's not that. Say, Blaze, you want to
Let's save
become
it, boys,
all right,
guys.
yes.
Let's save it. We're gonna
Yes.
take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen. Go do what you got to do. Go take a
Thanks.
wee, all that fun
Hey,
stuff.
boys, thanks for.
everybody. We are back. Thanks for sticking around for more of The Way We See It with yours truly, Blazeman, Mr. Windley, Mr. B, and Mr. Donald. So,
Can I
uh,
can I just say something, Blaze man?
yes, sir. Bounce right,
Uh,
jump right in there, buddy.
and while we fix our next topic, Mr. B, thank you. I know what your whole intention was with that World War II presentation today on D-Day,
Yeah.
and thank you for bringing exposure to that, man. Because maybe one kid will see us on YouTube, man, and they'll make
They'll want to check it out.
deal with it, you know. But shit,
They'll want
man.
to check it out. I agree.
Damn, what was I gonna lead this to? Oh, so I usually put I want to start a tradition of mine is to put a last name of a soldier that taught me or a soldier I taught. And the gentleman here is Mr. Winley. His full name is A.C. Winley. I don't want to give out his first names because I don't know how we feel. But he grew me in the Army, man. Brother from Beaufort, South Carolina. And me putting his last name is just a tribute and respect that I had for him. And he's the one that made me for who I was today in today's Army.
All
That's
right,
it,
man.
man.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, man. All right.
Thank you.
Very nice testimonial.
Took you under
Yeah.
under his wing. All right.
Yeah, he did.
Loving that. Okay, so that's where you wanted to go with that. Donald.
Oh, I wanted to talk about Second Amendment changes. I want to get into that, especially after today. You guys watch ABC News before you came on? No, Richmond, Virginia, VCU. There were shots fired at a college graduation. A high school graduation got canceled because it's in the area, and then in Florida, a woman got shot because she knocked on the door because there was a dispute about maybe a sign or something with the kids playing in the field or whatever. She got shot. And then, they're talking about stand your ground laws and shit. But I'm at a point now where I think it's maybe time we take the Second Amendment and maybe make some amendments to the amendment because it doesn't work in today's society. You got judges all down on every other corner. You got, some in Oklahoma that are good for gun rights, some that are not. And then get Hunter Biden, for example, and the trouble he's in over his application for the gun he bought in 2018 when he knowingly says in a memoir that he was smoking crack every 15 minutes. We know that's pretty much impossible, but yeah, he was on his drug binges and all that. So where does it stand about gun control? At what point are we going to say it? Because here's an interesting piece from a guy I was reading the article I sent y'all. His name's Adian Johnson. He's the director of federal affairs of Gun Owners of America. And he says, whatever merit you might have to put a ban on gun control, it just, or if you're going to use controlled substances, it has no merit. And there's plenty of judges, one in Oklahoma that in the district court that feels the same way. But he made an interesting stop. He said, if we don't trust people to buy weapons, why are we trusting them in society? And that makes my good point right there. It's like, if you can't trust you to buy a weapon, then why are we trusting you in society to do everything else? And I'm all for some gun ownership, but I'm not for your AR-15. Tell me it's for hunting. I don't know what you're hunting with that because I never hunt with an AR-15. I mean, it, didn't hunt.
Donnie, can I just add a little something?
Go ahead.
To your hunting thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, the 5.56 millimeter round coming out of an AR-15, when it enters its target, it ricochets, right?
Yes.
So don't you as a hunter want to preserve as much meat as you can with a bullet or an arrow?
Yes, you would think that. I mean, if I'm wrong, someone tell me wrong. Because tracer rounds or 5.56, it all depends on how you build the round. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tracer rounds aren't going to bounce, but they do ricochet. I mean, they do what you say when they come off of rocks and stuff or target, a hard target.
I'm going to tell Mr. B and Blaze, man, I support Donnie's discussion on the removal of AR-15s. I really do.
I'm not saying remove
I do.
it.
I do.
What What I'm asking for is, when are we going to have enough sense to say we need a national background check? You got to have a background check. Kids can graduate high school because somebody just wants to be stupid and say we're going to shoot it up. Come on, man. A college you can't graduate. At what point are we going to say enough lives are lost?
Yes, sir. I could step in.
Good.
Honey, they do criminal checks, but they're, like the state of Texas, these southern states, and especially these gun shows, they make a phone call to the ATF and you get cleared there within seconds. All right, I'm exaggerating, probably minutes, but you're going to get cleared out of the ATF, and all that ATF is a fucking terrorist watch.
Okay. But what are you going to do about controlled substances? Because on that form, like Hunter Biden signed, says I haven't been using any controlled substances, right? But yet you got another dude in the same Pennsylvania, which is the same district court that's overseeing Hunter Biden's all his troubles and stuff right now at the state level.
That's
he did
Delaware.
the same thing. Or Delaware, whatever. You got the same guy in the same district court with an appeal because he signed on there that he wasn't a drug user, but he popped hot or some crap, 9 months earlier. So now he had to take a guilty plea, but he said he reserved the right to do it because someone persecuted him and they're trying to charge him with 5 years in prison for lying on a federal form. Well, what the hell did Hunter just do?
Well,
you're talking about a problem of selective enforcement of the law. That's the problem. It has nothing to do with who gets a gun, who doesn't, or someone did a school shooting or a murder or whatever else. You're talking about selective enforcement of the law. You're talking about people that are being treated unfairly, unequally, uneven distribution, if you will, of justice. That's what you're talking about. It has nothing to do with guns. It has everything to do with politics.
Guns. No, I'm talking about guns and politics. I want you to clean up the laws. Maybe we go do it because the judges at certain levels, there's one in Texas right now, one in Oklahoma talking about, the purchase of a gun, because marijuana is legal in some states. It's legal. Medical marijuana legal in a lot of states. So when you're talking about guns and drugs, who's to say where the line is? Who's to say where the line is? Because that's what I'm asking. I don't know
how long it's going to take you to figure this out. Okay? Guns have been around for God knows how long. We didn't have these problems 50 years ago. We didn't. Okay? And no matter how many laws you clean up or rewrite or redo or how many checks you put people through, whatever else, people that are criminals are going to kill. They're going to rob. They're going to maim. They're going to shoot. Whether you like it or not, no matter how much you clean up the language, no matter how much language you include, no matter how many times you have people file forms, make phone calls, or do a rain dance.
Okay, so what's the point there? So you're just saying we should leave the laws like they are and just let everybody do dumbass shit.
It's not going to make anything any different whatsoever. Law-abiding citizen is a law-abiding citizen is a law-abiding citizen, and a shitbag is a shitbag. Whether they use a knife, a baseball bat, a lawnmower, or a gun.
Okay, I can see your point, and I agree with the point. A shitbag is a shitbag, but I'd rather let a shitbag get a baseball bat and try to come do some dumb shit than have a gun, because people are just stupid with them now. They're like toys. They're toys for adults. What do you do with kids when they don't play with their toys? They don't pick them up. They don't take care of them. You take them away.
Take them away.
What point are we going to do that with adults? Because apparently they can't act mature. They can't be law-abiding citizens. What point are you going to say, and when's it going to become a standard? Because there's too many scapegoats. How many scapegoats are you going to let them have?
And at what point do the people that do those gun collecting become tyrants?
I'm not collecting your guns.
Become oppressive.
I want to change the laws. I'm not taking them. I'm not telling nobody they can't have one. I want to change the laws.
Can I say one thing, Donnie and Mr. B? So the Constitution, lays it out, and I was going to pull it up, but I'm just going to wing this.
I can give it to you right now.
It's to defend yourself against the government, and right now, This country does not trust the government, and they're not going to drop their weapons. They're not. They
Right.
just are
Right.
not.
Fuck you. Right. Right.
They're not, bro.
Right. This
And
is even more fucked up than, yeah. I mean, this gun fucking shit's been going on for fucking ever. Okay, gun legislation has been going on forever. Okay, you know,
what I think Donnie's
it's
point plays is that, gun registration or gun ownership is like immigration. It's been long fucked, and we need to, I'm sorry about the F word. We need to get it right. Let's clean it up. Let's do this right one time. We just hang out in Congress, so we get that 160 at least guaranteed
and
for
let's
2
be
years.
honest here, right? A lot of these school shootings, someone walking into a Walmart and killing 16 people, these people weren't hardened criminals.
No.
No, they weren't.
Okay, they were fucking people, whatever, Deleuze or whatever, depressed, however anybody wants to put it out there. Okay, so I mean, yeah, to put it both together, it's like hardened criminals ain't going in and shooting fucking people. They're just criminals. You know what I mean? They're just criminals. They rob banks. They do, God forbid, they kill somebody or whatever. But that's the type of criminal I am talking about. You know what I mean? And they're not out there fucking shooting up malls. Fucking between 14 to, I don't know, 30. Look up those stats. Although that age bracket has been doing all the shooting. So how do we keep them out of their hands? I don't know. Listen, I really fucking, when it comes political for me, and I will indulge in this conversation, no problem. But for me, it's like I don't fucking like, when it comes to politics, talk about abortions or fucking guns. It's fucking, it's whatever. When it comes to abortion, for me, it's like it's nobody's fucking business what this woman does with her body.
So in return,
Plain and simple.
It should be nobody's business what I do with my personal weapon.
Right.
Okay, we're clear.
Do you understand why I put the two of them together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. B, I'm sorry. You had the age.
No, it's quite all right. I was going to say, take the money you were going to spend on having an abortion, go out and buy a gun. That'll solve the problem.
But you still have the baby, though, right?
Oh shit.
No, apparently
Details.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah, that's what he said. Skip the abortion and go buy a gun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not promoting that.
That's what he said.
No.
Fucker.
No, it's ridiculous. And let's think about it. Let's be honest and think about it in today's world. Do you want someone known with schizophrenia that has outrageous outbursts walking next to you down the street with an AR-15 or a judge, that shoots 45 or 20 gauge shotgun shell? Yeah. Do you really want someone like that walking down the street? And I'm sorry, man. If you've been convicted of a very violent crime, like you murdered 2 or 3 people, and for some reason, somehow, you get out on parole after 20 years, I really don't care if you have a gun or not. I don't care. My whole point is we need to change the laws, and maybe we need to stop being sorry and having all these damn feelings for everybody else, because the people that do the dumb shit with them, they don't worry about anybody else. So don't worry about them. Face reality. We just made a point earlier about how there was ghost guns in World War II. Got ghost guns now and they're a big thing. No, they've been around for a while. You just haven't done anything about it. And if you keep going down to the part in the Second Amendment, because what it says is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Period.
That's what you always want to say. There's being infringed. But no, it's not being infringed when you've already made dumbass decisions and you've done dumb shit in your past. That is where personal accountability comes in.
I for one, and one of the first people to jump on the boat, that if you've done stupid things, you don't get guns. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's simple. But the problem is, you can have 19,000 pages of laws that say such things, and the people somehow or another, if they're driven to do it, are going to go out. They're going to find somebody somewhere to furnish them with the appliance of their choice.
That's
So they
Mr.
can
B,
go out.
anything else.
Mr. B,
Yes.
did you end up looking into the young woman that you had on your Politicking with Mr. B show?
Hmm.
Because I was totally blown away about their gun laws. Do you remember what state that was that she lived in?
Maine, I
She lived
believe.
in Maine. Maine.
I believe that was in Maine.
Maine.
Yeah.
You can go in Maine. You can go buy a gun, Walmart, and for whatever odd reason, sell that same gun in the parking lot to somebody else without no fucking paperwork,
Not a
no nothing.
handgun. Not a handgun. You're
Oh,
talking about a
rifle.
rifle, shotgun,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay, so AR-15, fucking, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
insane.
Hi. My mom
Yeah.
doesn't know how to work FaceTime calls, so I had to.
Hi, whoever that is. Good to see you.
Yeah, hello. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. But anyways,
So,
go ahead.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. But what are you going to do? Each individual state has their own individual laws and regulations. There are federal regulations,
But
and
how many gun shootings have been in Maine?
not that many.
Okay, there you go.
oh, but
There
okay,
you
but
go.
you can't do that in Maine because you got to look at you're looking at Maine as a whole state, and you're getting a rural, and the place is pretty rural compared to an urban area or somewhere like Florida or New York where it's really populous. You know that you can't look at those stats that way. I don't think because that's just going to give you false data. But what's wrong with a national background check on every gun? I don't give a shit what state you live in. What would be so wrong with that? Because there's that people that fight that all the time. No, you can't do that. That's not right. No, no. Why not? What would be so wrong with that to start out with? You start
Nothing.
slow in baby steps.
Nothing. I
That's what
agree
I'm
with
saying.
you
You
with
could
that.
use little stuff like that to change the laws. You got to be 21 and over to buy, anything that has a semi-automatic capability. You got to
You
be
know,
21.
listen, the database would be very easy to build. Come on, give me a break. I mean, if I got a fucking parking ticket in Rhode Island and I go to renew my license in Mass, that shows up on a fucking computer. And I
Exactly.
can't fucking renew anything until I go fix that problem in fucking another
Exactly.
state.
I
Exactly.
got
I had
news
a
for you, boys. The database already exists. The
we
database
know
is already able
How long?
to be searched and
How long?
researched and so forth. And it generally is. A cop pulls you over. They radios. I'm going to check in on John Smith, license number, blah blah, yada yada yada. All they have to do is hit certain keys on their computer in the dispatch center, and it searches everything throughout the nation. Everything. I know. I've done the work.
Okay, so apply that to guns. So what's the problem about the whole, oh, you're invading my privacy? Well, you invaded my privacy with a ticket because I had the same thing in Texas when I came to Fort Hood. So I had to pay the ticket in North Carolina before I could get the car here in, this area. So what's the problem with that? Everybody says, oh, that's a violation of privacy, violation of Fifth Amendment, this amendment, blah, blah, blah. But you could do it for a ticket. I mean, where's the hypocrisy?
Talk to the lawyers. It's when the lawyers get in the courtrooms and whatever else. And a lot of people don't realize that information is there, that the database exists. And law enforcement doesn't want you to know that information is there and that they can access it and do access it. They don't want you to know it.
Exactly.
But you know what? Tough shit. I'm telling you, it's
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
I've seen it. I've done the work. I've handled the paperwork. I've researched things I've even accessed things at times going all the way to Interpol records.
Okay, so so how are these gun shops getting it in quicker then? Or how are these gun shops bypassing that for them to get that gun
They're
quicker?
not bypassing anything.
They're not?
You got a form they have to fill out. Now, anytime I've ever purchased a gun from a gun shop, I fill out a form. It's 2 or 3 pages or whatever else. I got to fill this in, that in, whatever else. Check a bunch of boxes and sign my name. And then they pick up the telephone and they call a whatever it is center and they say, "Hi, I'm bloody blah from yada yada gun shop, and this is my dealer
Yeah.
number, and I've got someone who's making a purchase, and we're gonna give you this information. This is the number on the report, and they give you this, that, and whatever else, and they'll say, oh yeah, right away. Oh, go right ahead, let them buy it, or they'll say, uh, we want to hold on to this for. We're going to put this on hold, or they can say if they see something that's a no, they'll say, no, this is not going through. Now, I don't know anybody at all that has not gone through this. If you've gone into a gun shop and tried to purchase a gun and had no
The
background check
regulations
whatsoever.
are different in other states, though, Mr. B. The regulations are different.
I've lived in Connecticut, I've lived in Massachusetts, I've lived in New Hampshire.
Right.
I've
Okay.
purchased guns in all 3 states. All 3 states, I have gone through exactly the same thing.
But
I
what
can't
exactly what
imagine
places?
that Utah is much different from Ohio or is much different from Nebraska.
Oh, it is. It is. There's a big difference in how deep they're going to go to look between New York and Texas or California and Texas. That's where they're talking about a national standard. This is what gets checked across the board. Don't give a shit what state you live in, where you're purchasing it, whether you're in a gun show, somebody's shop, no matter what. But you can guarantee the states are different, and it's how deep they go. That's the difference, Mr. B.
Yeah. Hold that thought, boys. We're gonna take a quick break. Everybody will be back 2-3 minutes. Stick around for more the way we see it right here on the FFN Network. Hey, and we're back. Thanks for sticking around for more of the way we see it right here on the FFN Network with yours truly, Blazeman, Mr. Windley, Mr. B, and Mr. Donald. So when we split on you guys for a few minutes, we were talking about, again, everyone's favorite subject, gun control. And Mr. B says that we've always had the background check systems up and running. You know, you
I
can't,
have. I'm sorry,
you
boys, but I have.
can't.
Go ahead, man.
Nope.
That's the same way it happens down here in Texas, man. And I believe the number they're calling is the ATF, a federal agency, man.
Okay. All right.
So I'm not trying to throw shade at Donnie's statement, but I believe the government is involved in the 48, well, the 50 states when it comes to that.
Okay. So you're saying that we have a data system up and running.
Uh,
So
no,
so
I can't
it'll
say
be
that.
kind of tough to determine that someone's a wacko and can get a gun. All right, because if they don't have any priors, you know.
Yeah, and shit, it just like you made mention though, you talked about statistics on the age disparity, well, not disparity, but the age of where the crimes are committed, and they're all under 21, man. The
Yeah.
majority of them, I want to say 95% of them. So, and
Okay.
then again, and I just want to add, so I think of that little dumbass 18-year-old that killed all them kids down there at Uvalde. Did PlayStation have anything to do with that? Xbox? Violence? Maybe he saw at home. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's just fuck. Nobody likes gun violence, you know. The fuck is
Donald.
Okay, so I just was doing a little quick Google search right now. According to background or Giffords.org, state laws, right? But federal law requires federally licensed firearm dealers, but not private sellers, to initiate a background check on the purchase prior to sale of a firearm.
that's
And
why
all the
gun shows. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's private sellers at that point and gun shows. So it and the ATF verifies the buyer does not have a criminal record or is otherwise isn't ineligible to purchase or own a firearm. That's why it takes 5 minutes. Oh, you don't have a criminal background check. Have a good day. But now we need to get into the whole drug abuse and the medical part of it. But you got schizophrenia or you've been known already to be violent and all this other stuff. And we're still going to be like, hey, but he got no criminal record. But we know they're not mature enough in their mind to handle a weapon. And you're going to tell me that that's illegal to say, no, you can't have it? I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm starting to lean towards the side that maybe it's not. Maybe it is okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
Hey,
come on.
maybe have to make an appointment with a fucking psychiatrist. Okay, and you say you got to do 2 sessions with a psychiatrist or whatever. I don't fucking know, man.
But
Because you
okay,
don't
how
know the
easy?
person's buying the gun. They could be happy their whole life and not bother a soul. And then something happens. You know what I mean? And
Okay, but
something happens.
Mr. Henley, do your thing, Mr. Winley. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man. If you got
No,
something.
I'm gonna say you're talking about this. So, but look at what happened down here in Texas at the church a few years back. The kid coming out of the Air Force. He knowing he had red flags. He had violent problems in the Air Force. That's why his ass was getting booted out the Air Force. But we don't tag that dude. No, I'm sorry, man. You get tagged.
Yeah,
You get red
okay,
flagged.
yeah.
I don't really see what's wrong with that. And it goes to a point where it says, like you said, you got to go through some therapy, get some medication, something, and we can give you a gun. I don't know if that's so wrong anymore.
Nah, I don't think if anybody's taking an antidepressant, you can't own a gun. You can't have a gun. I don't know.
Well, that's fucked up because I take an antidepressant, anxiety, and I
Right,
think I'm very responsible with my guns.
right.
But
Listen, but I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, it doesn't work. No matter what you fucking come up with.
no, let me let me
Second
get back.
Amendment. Second Amendment says we're fucking allowed to have a gun. Shut the fuck up, everybody, and that's it.
So, what Donnie brought up, the ATF does a initial check minus the gun shows, the private dealers. But the problem I see, Donnie, and it's with immigration too, man. It's funny, these working hands, the states don't report to higher up. That's the problem. That is the that is the disconnect. And
Okay, there's one thing to change.
and then how I see it with immigration, when these immigrants go to sanctuary cities, now they're starting to eat their words. And if they get an offense with the local authorities, they won't report it to ICE. And that's California is well known and documented for that. You know, and then here we go. We got that disconnect. Nobody wants to report hard to Uncle Sugar. Yeah, Donnie.
Oh, that's right there. You just named it. And how easy is it to get a fake name and do some paperwork anymore to get a state ID with all the laws they just passed? Too easy. Too easy to get that fake stuff. Mr. B, go. You want to say something? I can see it on your face.
I'm just sitting here taking it all and listening to these things. And I'm thinking, you can beat the dead horse and go around and round over here. It's still the same, no matter what happens, no matter how you slice it. If someone who is hell bent on getting a hold of a gun wants to, they're going to do it.
Oh yeah, not going to argue that.
I give you the stat. I think a month ago we were talking about AR-15s. Just alone in AR-15s, the actual AR-15 gun is over 40 million. I'm sorry. It's 20 million. 20 million of them.
Okay.
That are out in circulation in the United States.
But let me
that's
not
pistols. That's not shotguns. That's not 22s or 308s or anything else. That's just one certain kind of gun.
Donald.
Okay. So let's talk about an AR-15, just like an M4, right? Pretty much the same thing. Have any of you ever taken a 100-round clip and just unloaded one of those bad boys? I just unloaded it.
I haven't got the disposable income to go ahead and spend on that kind of ammunition.
So I've been fortunate to be able to do that, but I did it in a dirt berm in the Middle East, right? That was fun. I mean, that was fun. That target, the wood, everything was gone. I mean, we needed to replace it, so I was like, hey, let's see if we can shoot it down and cut it down, right? Like a saw. So we did that. That is fun. I will not lie. So those guys that have AR-15s and want to go shoot 3-inch holes into targets, go for it, man. I understand the feeling. But don't tell me you need that for, to go down to the local Walmart and don't walk around with it. That's my point. But back to what you say, Mr. B, there's got to be a set standard, like Demas says, where you got to report things higher. There's got to be accountability. And it's going to come to a point where now everybody's armed and everybody's just doing whatever the hell they want to do. Because I wanted to stand my ground because this guy looked at me crazy and he had a shotgun around his back or he had a shotgun in his truck. So now it gives me the right to shoot somebody. Come on, change the laws. Hell, you can't even get the ATF. The director of the ATF can't even define an AR-15 for you by definition. I can't do it. But you look at their gun laws. I can take a 12-inch barrel. I put it on a pistol. Now that it does nothing to that pistol, but I can't take that same 12-inch barrel and put it on a shotgun because now the shotgun's illegal. That's how dumb their laws are. Oh, because I did a grip or I put a forward grip on it on the pistol, now it becomes another weapon. I mean, those are the things that. Can we take a look at that and clean that up, maybe? Define it. Get the gun makers in the room with you and define the shit and make it simpler. Give the judges and everybody you say that can't
I can
do
make it simple as hell.
Quit
regulating how long a barrel is on a gun.
But you need that regulation on the barrel of a gun. Well, I wouldn't say regulation. The specifications.
Quit making these stupid regulations about things like that and spend more time coming up with regulations for background checks that make sense, that are viable, and that don't intrude into your great grandmother's mental health history or whatever hell it is.
But it's funny you say that about grandma's health history, but when you go in front of a shrink, they'll ask them questions hereditary.
Of
The
course.
science on the psychology side really believes in these numbers, just like how they do open heart surgery. They believe it in a mental case too, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh boy.
I don't know. I want to think, when we're gonna have a conversation to actually clarify some stuff and get it where it makes sense, like Mr. B says. Because right now, half of it doesn't make sense. There's got to be. You got to start that way. Please start that way.
Hey, Donnie, and I just want to add something because you were talking about this the other day, and I blew you off like a cheap cigar.
Yeah.
And I've been holding this for a while. The help me out, resiliency
Yeah.
training. You know, I didn't. I looked at it before while you were busting me in the ass with it, and I was like, yeah, he's right. He's got a point. And I'm gonna go to the point that when I was in the Army in 1983, we had a couple of deployments, nothing as bad as OIF or OEF, whatever. But I started seeing resiliency training about my 17th, 18th year in the Army. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? But you know something? The kids that come out of there come out a lot stronger, a lot stronger. And what we did for soldiers, maybe we can implement that with our kids. Because Donnie, you're right. The summer of love, your kids, my kids, Blaze's kids, Mr. B's kids, grandkids, his dogs, they all witnessed that. So to witness that is like, fuck, they got over it. And I'm just coming out and let you know you had a real good, valid point there, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
And I leave you at that.
No, thank you.
I'm sorry, but I'm at a loss here. What is it I supposedly witnessed?
The summer of love, the riots, the buildings.
Oh, for goodness sake.
But nobody got in trouble. And this is what our kids are seeing too, man. And all they're going to say, if they get a little trouble, they did it up there.
Right.
Yeah, but now we're talking about accountability.
Wait.
Firearm injuries represent an epidemic in the United
of gun violence.
Join us in this campaign to reduce gun violence.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun,
another mass shooting
is
in America,
a good guy with
shooting
a gun.
rampage. 316 people were shot every single day.
Gun violence, a topic that's deeply divisive in America, a country where guns are embedded in everyday life. As of 2018, it was estimated that there are approximately 400 million civilian-owned guns in America. That means there are more guns than there are people or cars in the US. By comparison, Americans own more guns per capita than any other country, accounting for about 40% of the world's total gun ownership. And that number is likely to increase. Since 2008, the US firearm industry's worth grew 232%, making it a $63.5 billion industry in 2020. But the reason for division over gun ownership isn't just because the US owns the most guns. It's because it also has the highest rate of mass shootings, gun-related homicides, and firearm suicides among similarly developed nations.
Our politics is just not being incentivized to pay attention to the things that would actually reduce gun violence.
This is the job of public health, to help the most vulnerable, to stand up for them.
So how did we get here? How has the right to own a gun become a divisive American ideal? And of all the proposed solutions, what do experts say could effectively reduce gun violence in the US?
I'll tell you how we got here. There's a left-wing liberals trying to force their thoughts and their ways down my throat about what I should and shouldn't have, what I should and shouldn't eat, what I should and shouldn't do.
Donald.
The liberals can do that, but I revert that back to our own fault as a voting public, because we're the dumbasses that put him in office. So I really can't. I see that's a 50-50 problem. But you're right. Every time they're trying to strip a little bit more away, every little law they pass, every little thing they do. And then our political scheme is so effed up that when, like Republicans right now, they got control. So they're trying to revamp everything that Biden's been doing. So they sit there and fight and squabble with each other and nothing gets done. That I can relate that to part of the problem. But pose my question, the thing we have in there. You just played the video. Other states, other global travel agencies or whatever, they're putting warnings out about going to the U.S. Not because of kidnapping, this and that. No, they're putting them out because of gun violence, mass shooting. Pretty much, why can't the leadership of this nation and Biden and politicians and every mayor and everybody around the world, that, I think it's become a problem. Maybe we need to figure something out.
I don't know. Fucking this gun thing, it's gonna go on forever. Abortion, gonna go on forever. All of that. So over here, we're getting pretty fucking nailed with these Canada wildfires, man. I mean, we have literal smoke, man.
Yeah, think of the soldiers of the burn pit. They're smelling that shit like fucking 50 times intensified.
Touche.
Oh, and it's literally
touche, man.
And that's when I see little shit like that, and I see, and I'm sorry, I see the American public crying, because they got smoke on their burger or something like that. It just fucking irks me. I'm sorry, and I'm going out on a tangent where I don't need to go.
Mr. B.
It's just.
Well, I was going to bring up something that has nothing to do with any of this smoke, but we can stay along with that as well. I've seen a number of photographs, people taking, photographs of what the moon looked like and what the sun looked like this morning with this orange reddish glow and so forth. And it's. I will agree that when I woke up this morning, it seemed like the sky was very eerie, almost as if the times we've had solar eclipses, and it's really strange. It's filtered, and I'm wondering if this continues, what this is going to do for our growing season. Because the longer this happens, the more it's going to affect the process of photosynthesis. Because not all of the bands of light that are required can actually be getting to the plants.
No, yeah, man. Yeah, you're 100% right. You need to go up there and what's that little puppet's name? Trudeau? What's his name? The president of Canada.
Yeah. Mr. Blackface himself.
Yes. And oh man, I know this is way off topic and stuff, and we started talking about left for liberals and blackface. Tim Scott, just real quick, he went on The View and just tore them a new asshole. It's sad when you get black folks telling another black folk is that you're not the rule, you're the exception. And I was like, wow. And maybe after break, during the break, I can find the video and send it to Blaze, because it's really sad how we've come to this, man. We're making such good strides, and then these women come out there and just bash us, man.
Okay, find the video. But Mr. B, then what do you think about what happened in Ukraine where the dam blew up? Do we honestly believe that it was a fault of war, or just because it failed? Because there were so many silos and the wheat, and you know how about 20% of the grains come out of that region. So what's going to happen when we don't have what you say is grains and shit to eat?
First off, dams do not blow up on their own.
Yeah.
And as I remember, there was a time that they had in World War II, they were trying to damage some dams so it would prevent factories in industry to make weapons of war. And they had to develop a certain type of bomb, of how to bomb delivery system. And it took not one, but several different applications of very large packages of fissionable material to blow out the dam. And even after they went, it still had to take its sit and wait. So you can't tell me that this is something that just happened on its own. There had to have been some form of detonation that pushed this and moved this along to cause the dam to breach.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to argue that point, but I'm looking more for the end result, the ripple effect from it, because we already have problems growing crops here. You done took out all the other, and grain is a staple, so we all need it.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and
one of
is that really?
things
But
about
how far are we going to take it?
Ukraine has vast areas that are for growing things like wheat and so forth, and they are also oil rich. So there's two things going on over there that Mother Russia really wants them for, and it's that. Now that this has happened, this is going to put a hell of a dent in the ability for that section of Europe to be feeding itself.
Okay, we're gonna take a break,
Yep.
and then when we come back, we'll talk about the Tim Scott video and all that other shit. So I apologize. Stick around for more of The Way We See It. We'll be right back.
Fair enough.
We watch the children pray.
That's
What's
the
up,
devil.
boys? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Way We See It right here. It's Tuesday night. It's 6/6/2023. Known for June 6th, D-Day, full invasion of Europe to get that whack job, Hitler the fuck out of there. And so again, the View and all their controversy. Because I gotta tell you, if any other show didn't have a bunch of women like this show does, would have been canceled a long time ago. It's just sad the things that these women get to say without any backlash, especially this young lady we're about to show right now. So we're going to play a little clip here, and then we are going to discuss.
Black senator elected in the South since the Reconstruction. That would be about, I think, about 114 years. Yet you say that your life disproves leftist lies. And my question to you is, I'm the exception, right? You're the exception. Maybe even Miss Whoopi Goldberg is the exception.
Oh, she's definitely the exception.
But we are not the rule. And so when it comes to racial inequality, it persists in 5 core aspects of life in the U.S. Economics, education, healthcare, criminal justice, and housing. At nearly every turn, these achievements were fought, threatened, and erased, most often by white violence. You have indicated that you don't believe in systemic racism. What is your definition of systemic racism?
Let me answer the question that you've answered.
Or does it even exist in your mind?
Let me answer the question this way. One of the things I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show, is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on this show, that the only way for a young African-American kid to be successful in this country is to be the exception and not the rule. That is a dangerous, offensive, disgusting message to send to our young people today, that the only way to succeed is by being the exception. I will tell you that if my life is the exception, I can't imagine.
But it is.
But it's not, actually. It's
been 114 years.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is we've had an African-American president, African-American vice president. We've had 2 African-Americans to be secretaries of the state.
Kaylee, just one of his many incredibly thoughtful, reasoned, prepared.
Black vice president, he said, I have a black police chief in my community, black head of highway patrol. There are black men and women who are anchors at ABC, CBS, NBC, ESPN, Fox.
That show in itself is a fucking racist show. Okay? That woman, I forget her name, is sitting there crying diversity when she is whiter than most of the fucking black people on the show.
Yes, but that's not the point she's trying to make. She's a piece of shit in my eyes.
She is a piece of shit.
But the point she was making, and I was a little humbled with this, is that she is the exception, which I think is a lot of bullshit. You know, and she, you know, Whoopi's the exception and fucking Tim Scott's the exception. No, man. And what's crazy about this is Jody Behar, whatever her fucking name is.
Yeah.
She's the one that made comment, and how convenient Mondays are a day off.
Yeah, they have them on the show.
And maybe she was getting another blackface done, you know, for Halloween, you know.
Yeah.
Big ass.
Yeah, but she didn't mean it. She's the only fucking liberal out there that didn't mean that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And got total a slap on the wrist from liberal TV. You know. But anybody that some of these people didn't like, you know, and they find out, they look at the registry and they say, "Oh, that's this person's a fucking conservative, you know, a Republican." They wore blackface. You know what I mean? Then it's like a complete fucking shit show, you know? So it's just a bunch of it's just, to me, it's like, I think Mr. Tim Scott was trying to say is like, when does it end? You know what I mean? When does it end? When are you going to fucking keep riding this? You know what I mean? This pony. When are you going to keep doing it? How long? You know, racist this, racist that. I've never heard anything in the past 20 years. For me, it just built up to racist. Everything's fucking racist. Everything is racist. We had D&I. I'm sure maybe you guys, I don't know, but I could speak for D&I. We had colored friends. You know what I'm saying? You know, it wasn't, I don't know, man. There wasn't too many in our city, I'll tell you that. So, but I don't know.
But we didn't go around fucking with crosses, burn them in their front yard and stuff, you know?
Yeah, right.
But getting back to that, I went to a basic training, and Donnie probably did too, where a white guy has never seen a black man, or I wouldn't say seen a black man, but communicated with a black man in an environment like that.
Well, yeah, because they're probably from the fucking deep south,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you need them guys in the South with their long rifles because they will fend off the invasion from Cuba when it's coming up north.
Absolutely. That's
Because
why we don't take their guns.
the Russians are making little gestures with the Cubans. So let's watch that on our radar here going forward.
Right. So the wildfires, okay, we're not happy here in New England. And like D said, you're a bunch of whinies, the fucking soldiers, those burn pits. I mean, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. There was no other way of sanitation. You guys could have dealt with that. I mean, we're talking about like on a smaller base, right? I can see that. You got to dig the trench, and I'm sure fuel is involved, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so mostly diesel, or do you think that sometimes maybe jet fuel was used? I don't know. Curious.
Jet fuel and diesel in the army is the same, man. It's
Okay.
But Donnie, what was that little ingredient? We put 10% Mogas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bogas.
Mr. B, you had a comment. What's going on?
Well, if we go back, I'll go back a little bit to the discussion you were talking about, those panelists and all that. That's the whole race that I look upon that all as nothing more than something, number one, that should be just disregarded. They are a panel of race baiting tarts.
Oh man.
And that's all that they are. And I think we should just leave it at that. The less attention you give them, the less credence that they have to anything that comes out of their race baiting mouths. They want to take and televise that crap. Let them televise that crap. Eventually, America is going to get tired of them, and it's going to wind up going away. It's insipid idiocy, to say the least. Why are we bothering discussing it?
I would say this gets discussed because the race baiting brings dollars and it brings viewers. So there's money to be made. Racism isn't going to go away. The part of that video I don't like is, one, the man's promoting hard work and doing what's right. And right away, they want to put it into race. Because if you take the same principles and you tell the young kid, Hispanic kid, white kid, Asian kid, purple kid, green kid, I don't give a shit. He can be a rainbow-colored motherfucker.
Hey!
You know what? If he or she or they, whatever pronoun this person wants to use, if they work hard, put in the effort, educate themselves, they can be successful. That is for everybody in the United States. And don't say it's not true, because let's take the Hispanic population. And I saw this in a video from an African-American man, and he was talking this shit. The Hispanic community is growing, and they're getting better. They're getting louder because they're getting more money. Why do they get more money? They come here. They have a language barrier, and we can talk about all the help they get. That's fine. They get help. But guess what? They put that help to use, and they start little fucking corner markets where you love to get your street taco. You ain't bitching when you drinking that coconut fucking water or that watermelon water, or you ain't getting that, burrito that's all freshly chopped up. You ain't bitching then. But they get businesses. They leave their kids. They teach their kids a business. They become self-sufficient. They become self-employed.
They become Republican.
But as soon as that man started talking that junk on there, they start bad-mouthing him. I don't know what 114 years is since slavery, whatever. I don't give a shit. That's 114 years ago. Guess what? You've had plenty of time. Get your shit together. I don't like the fact that Whoopi Goldberg goes and stands up next to the girl, puts her arms around the girl. Like you trying to intimidate somebody? Like you're going to do something. You ain't going to do shit but stand there and take every bit of what that educated man's got to have for you, because he's going to educate you on why it's wrong what you do.
Right.
And
Donnie.
right away, that's canceled, right? Ain't that the cancel culture? I don't like your agenda. I'm going to cancel you.
Fuck cancel culture, man. I don't have enough money for them to cancel me. But getting back, Donnie, you saw the whole video on the side then, I take it, because I didn't see it on this video when Whoopi's hugging old Sonny Austin. And what I see with that, they're giving him the dreaded eyes and basically saying, "You Uncle Tom motherfucker."
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow,
So who's
wow.
the real racist? Who's the
They
racist?
are. They are,
tendencies.
bro.
Exactly what
They
Mr. B
are.
said.
And they talk the break, because you notice all the white girls didn't say a fucking word. It was just the sisters.
No. Right.
You know, man.
I'm like Mr. I agree with Mr. B. Stop putting your words to it. Stop putting your time to it. I know it aggravates the shit out of me, but just ignore it. Stop talking it. Take that language out of your vocabulary, and all of a sudden, because we don't speak it, it's not heard. It's not understood, right? You forget about it. It loses interest. It becomes background noise.
But Donnie.
Hi, hi, we're back.
Oh, we're arguing over here still. I apologize.
Huh?
So we were still arguing over here.
Oh, well, that's okay.
I thought it was argument, but it's discussion.
Anna's got the first question.
Thank the Lord. I had forgotten I was here. Listen,
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, I welcome your entrance into the race because I live in Florida and I am sick of manufactured culture wars and the spread of hatred and division for the purposes of politics.
Exactly.
And I hope you take Ron DeSantis on because what he is doing is hypocritical, it's not conservative, and it is sickening.
Up.
So, that being said, this year, Republican legislators across the country have introduced nearly 500 anti-LGBTQ plus bills, including, as Nikki Haley said, the so-called Don't Say Gay bill in my state of Florida, which includes things like banning drag shows. They're banning everything. The AP African American Studies, drag shows, books, Disney movies. What can't they ban? This month, we are celebrating Happy Pride, everybody. And so, a lot of Republicans tell me Ron DeSantis has gone too far. Republicans are going too far on this issue. Do you think Republicans are going too far?
Well, I don't think that Republicans are going too far on some of the issues that you're underlining. The truth of the matter is that when you look at what's gone too far in the corporate culture is, in my opinion, the radical left making decisions to take stands against issues like the Georgia state election law.
You think Disney is the radical left?
Well, I'm talking about...
No, but do you think Disney's radical left?
Well, I think Disney and Ron have been in a combat zone for a number of months over what I thought was the right issue as it relates to our young kids and what they're being indoctrinated with. I thought he started off on the right foot on that issue. It is 100%.
No, not here. I'm sorry, sir. Do not boo. This is the view. We accept we don't have to believe everything people say, but you cannot boo people here, please. You cannot do it. Please continue.
So I think protecting our kids from the indoctrination that's happening in our culture today is an important part of the equation. I'd also go a step further and say, listen, from the radical left is getting involved from a corporate perspective on a number of issues, to include, which was the Georgia state law that was supposedly the Jim Crow 2.0. And the fact of the matter is that when we look at the results of the last election, what we saw was not Jim Crow 2.0. What we saw was an actual record-breaking number of African Americans not only voting, but also succeeding at the ballot box.
Do you think weaponizing government against the private sector, against private businesses for exercising their First Amendment right to say something, to have an opinion, is a conservative position? I
do not. I think that the fact of the matter is that the First Amendment, every single person
We're
should
not
exercise their First
conservatives
Amendment
are not
rights.
out
If they don't like what's
canceling
happening with the
people.
corporation, stop shopping there.
That's right.
Yeah,
And that's what we're going to do right now.
Mickey Mouse is not radical.
We
left.
say thank you for coming.
Mickey Mouse is not radical, she says to him. Oh, my God.
Wow, how quickly she went away when he just was continuing to not go with their point of view.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so...
Guys, if you're going to persist with this crap, I'm going to go clean my Parcheesi board.
Hey, Mr. B, it's got to be said both ways, man. You got to hear it both ways. And the point
I know,
think that
but
we're
why are
trying
you
to
giving
make-
any credence to these
Well, because we're trying to make a point. Because Mr. B, we can't sit here and just say, "Oh yeah, la da da, they're dumb." You know what I mean? The point is to give everybody their own voice and to see it for themselves that they're dumb. You know what I mean? I cannot not play that because
Okay.
we know it's dumb, but I don't think people understand that how fucking dumb they are. You know what I mean? It's just, and Whoopi, oh, there's no booing here. Yeah, because, she wants to keep her job. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's
It's
talk about the
all
indoctrination
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the indoctrination stuff because there's indoctrination going a lot of different ways. You get indoctrinated into white supremacy. There's, black people, movements where it's all, about black people. That's a little bit racist. Hispanics got their culture where they got their foreign racist people, all that stuff, right? You can get indoctrinated and all that. Okay. But there is debate to say, hey, you are trying to indoctrinate my kids because you're allowing parents to make decisions when it comes to hormone blockers and all this other stuff for kids. I don't see what's wrong with the law that says, hey, if they want to do all that when they turn 18 and they're considered adults, they're on their own, by all means go. But until that time, because that's what a lot of the laws were under don't say gay, which, in Webster's means happy, lighthearted. That's one definition. You're going to say don't say gay, but what are we supposed to say then? What are we supposed to say? You're getting mad because somebody uses an adjective to describe you? What's the proper adjective? I don't think it's right. I think the kids should be able to make their choice, figure it out, because there's a lot of people that had that shit done when they were teens, and now they regret it because mom and dad pushed them. That's grooming.
Here's the way it should be, and people should just do it and get it over with. Parents are the people that have the control of their children, or are to have control of their children. Parents, not parent or this, guardian, whatever else. Not school teachers, not administrators, not some social worker, nose picker, butt scratcher, whatever else that they have in schools. It is the parent that should be raising their child and saying, this is what you're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to live, this is the church we're going to go to, what we're going to believe in, this is the water we're going to drink, and whatever else, until that child becomes emancipated. And the schools should be having nothing to do with any of this. Nothing. The schools should be there teaching the reading, writing, arithmetic, whatever else that they have. If they have shop classes, that would be a good idea to bring back, or whatever else.
That's coming back.
But shouldn't be teaching kids how to dress as a drag queen. Shouldn't be teaching kids about how to have sex with a same-sex partner or whatever else. It doesn't belong in the schools. It's not a decision the school teachers should be making.
No. But that's what some of the laws that he's trying to pass. But you see what happens. Everybody wants to doubt him real quick because you put in the LGBTQ plus, you put that in the name of the bill, or you put it in the conversation. So now all of a sudden we're against you. No, we're not against you. Once again, it goes back to I just want it my way, and if it's not my way, then we're wrong. We can no longer meet in the middle and have certain agreements. And I say shame on the bookkeepers and some of the school people, because it should be DeSantis and Newsom when they're little fighting with the book people. Hey, we're going to teach facts that are proven, and I don't give a shit what you like. I'm selling this book because it's fact and it's data. Just saying. Demas.
Yeah. So just to close on this with me is on the Tim Scott. Yeah, it sucks seeing them liberals with their little pom poms and all that shit. But it sucks for me being a 57 years of age, traveled the country, been around all kinds of colors, a lot different colors. And it's good to see a brother get up like that. And then to hear these bitches And trust me, I seen the plight of a brother, and I even seen the plight with myself with my first name. And I'm not trying to compare it, but racism is still here. But good God, let's move on. It as an American citizen, I feel good that this man is up there, man. And fuck yeah, I feel even better, man. Fuck yeah, he broke all that bullshit barriers these fucking people put in front of him.
Yeah,
The
and he gets
exception,
right
the
up there on a
rule.
fucking View,
This,
and
this, no, Blaze, and this guy, his parents divorced when he was 7 years old. 7 years old. His mom worked 16 hours to support his ass and his brother. And his brother is a
right?
CSM in the army.
So what?
Yeah,
And
For
it's
us
just
lay people, what is a
command sergeant
CSM,
major.
please?
It's just yes, and I was going to say that he's a command sergeant major. It's the highest enlisted rank in the army. So he's doing something right,
Of course, but
I don't know, man. It's sad.
it's fucking doing. He's doing something right because he had a parent that fucking did what she did for her kids without a father. If you listen to some of these liberals,
Yeah.
don't care about the family unit no more. The nuclear
The nuclear
family,
family.
it's okay if daddy's not around.
Yeah, boys.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm still waiting for women to speak up for themselves, man. And stop allowing these fucking guys to turn broads and to go into and just fucking jump into their culture and destroy it.
But some women enjoy that, man. I hate to say that. I wouldn't say the numbers are high,
Yeah,
but
some enjoy
women
it until
really.
that their friend gets picked for a job before they do. You know what I mean? So come on.
Guys need to grow the fuck up. If they do their thing and a woman gets pregnant, they better suck it up and be responsible and take care of that child.
that goes both ways, male and female. That goes both ways, male and female. And parents are gonna fail. Got it. But the point is to be there and try. Got it. But I just have a problem with if
oh my God,
they're setting a law to say to protect a minor. In my view, it protects a minor from all the what they call grooming and all that influencing. I don't understand what's so wrong with that and why, as a society, we have a problem with that. I thought we were supposed to protect minors. My other problem, though, is the same fact that as soon as this man started talking about working hard, doing the right thing, not having excuses, a desire to excel, he started talking about all that. And what you guys talked about earlier, with his family, having the resiliency to say, I'm not going to let it beat me up. We don't promote that on the show. They automatically dog him out. How about we promote that positivity a little bit more?
I agree. But also, again, for me, abortion, gun, gun control, it's like all of it, all of it. What I was babbling on about the whole kind of racist thing, it's like for me, it's worse now than I've like ever experienced it in my life. You know what I mean? And is it because of social media? Is it because we can do things like that? Is it because black Americans have a way to say and stress on how they live? I mean, because you know there are a lot more fucking black people that live in fucking projects than white people. I mean, really need to have some kind of statistics to state that, but wouldn't you say that would be pretty correct, Mr. B?
What I'd say is I see an awful lot of this stuff going on, and I can only liken it to these people trying to perpetuate the environment where people remain on the government dole. keep telling people that they're victims, keep telling people that they're owed or due reparations, keep telling people that this person who's enjoyed tremendous success is the exception to the rule. All trying to set people up and keep them down so that they got their hands out, sit down, get a check once a month, and free food and free housing and free health care, whatever else, and everybody's happy. They don't want that disrupted.
But you know what kills me though, Mr. B, is that the brothers, the Democratic and these left liberals, are the ones that failed them, man. They're the ones that failed them, and they're caught. Because let's look at these numbers, and you brought a number up with the Hispanics. A lot of Hispanics and blacks are shifting. Because what is the Democrats
finally getting wise to it?
Nothing.
Great.
Yes, they put them in a housing complex. They give them SNAP benefits. They do everything to make it easy, but they get nothing back in return. These kids, man,
They want them. They want them to stay there. They need them to stay there because their entire fucking system will break down. Their vote will fucking, you know what I mean? It's like
the more people that stay there, the more people will be on the dole. The more government money they'll need. The more government programs there's going to be.
That's that's another fucking word for a black person to call a black person a honky is an Uncle Tom. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like it's fucking, I don't know, man. It's sad.
Do you know where honky came from? Do you know where that word was derived from?
We're gonna have to save that for next week's show, Mr. B.
Mr. B.
All right.
We're gonna have to save
Mr.
that
B,
for next
honky.
week's show.
Okay.
All right. So, hey guys, 15, 30 seconds apiece. Go ahead, Mr. B. No, you know what? I'm gonna save you for last, man. Mr. D, go ahead, say goodnight.
Yes, sir. Good night, everyone. Good night, Blaze, Donnie, Mr. B. It was a real good show. We're gonna pop, and it's not gonna be pretty when we pop, man. And I'm talking society, man.
Mr. Donald.
Have a good night.
Hey, think positive, do positive every chance you get, man. The world will get better because that's the only thing we're going to be able to do is police each other and help each other. Because Demas is right. When the Civil War pops off, well, it's going to be Civil War from all kinds of different angles because there's too many groups, too many communities that want it their way.
Exactly. And Mr. B.
This belongs to the people who stormed the beaches of Normandy and the families of those for the ones who never returned. I thank you and wish you all a genuinely pleasant evening.
Good night, everybody. Don't forget to check us out again. Don't forget to check out tomorrow, Coach's Corner and the Mr. B Show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. A Coach's Corner at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the FFN Network. And Thursday night is My Voice is My Power with Alyssa Thorpe, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Friday night is the Louie and Ernest Show. That show starts at 8 until 9:30, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot for watching, and we will catch you next Thursday right here on The Way We See It.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?